Two pretty predictable ladder matches, but the truth shall set all of us free. It's our Money in the Bank recap next. Well, I am floored by that ending, so let's get to it and start the 10 count for Money in the Bank. Topic number one, with two ladder matches, somehow our truth is the only thing that matters here tonight, and that is indeed how badly WWE messed this up. Or did they? I'm sure we'll find out soon. I guess maybe they could have worked us, and I certainly hope that that is the case, but that doesn't seem like what they were doing. Either way, they fixed it and fixed it quickly, so thank you to R-Truth because this was amazing, and it was so well deserved for him to get that title shot right to Cena's head right back after that Saturday night's main event loss. So who cares where he goes from here? It doesn't matter. He's back, and that's all we wanted and all that we needed. But I guess we did have a tag match as our main event, and my lord, did this ruin wrestling for 90% of it, because that was a zero work rate kind of match. And if you're keeping Cena heel as long as you want to and need to, I guess that's fine. But if you keep him heel for much longer, can you at least kind of start moving all of the matches on, even if they look like those R-Truth matches from Saturday night's main event? Otherwise, this was pretty boring, and I don't think we can handle much more of that. But I guess what we liked the most here was that Logan Paul came out looking pretty good here with that moonsault, and he also got a little bit of tension with Cena, so if Cena turns face sooner rather than later, it could potentially lead to a match against Cena here before long, and I guess the good guys winning was the right call. It was not the call I wanted, because I want Cena to be heel all the way up until the end, but I guess it was good enough for today. But let's go to topic two, and there was no cash-in attempt of any sort in that main event, which I guess is a little bit surprising considering both of those titles were in that match, and Seth Rollins does have two guys that could have taken them out. Nonetheless, we did still have the Money in the Bank ladder match for the men and a new Mr. Money in the Bank as Seth Freakin Rollins. And this one did have a lot of good spots, especially El Grande Americano's run up a ladder as it was falling onto the other ladder, and then he raced up to land that loaded headbutt. Very cool. That may have been the move of the entire night. And of course, Penta's Mexican Destroyer on top of a ladder was also pretty stunning. We're just glad that Andrade is okay here. And speaking of Andrade, we can't have a Money in the Bank ladder match without a what were you thinking moment, as Andrade decided to go over the top of the ladder, and instead of trying to win and get that briefcase, he instead landed a sunset flip powerbomb. That was indeed very cool, but it doesn't make a lot of sense because you're supposed to try to win the match instead of injure the other guy and pretty much just take yourself out as well. And of course, we had Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed making their appearance. That was indeed predictable, but I guess it was better that the match didn't immediately end after they appeared. But still, even though with a couple big moves, this just didn't land right. And of course, we also got to see Jacob Fatu make his big turn, and I guess this was fine. Maybe it was a little weird. Maybe it should have been on SmackDown, because we expect big things in Money in the Bank, and if this was supposed to be a big thing, it wasn't quite big enough. The OTC returning would have been big enough. Instead, this was just kind of medium size. Also would have liked LA Knight to win here. We'll talk about that in a bit. But WWE went the safe route, and I guess that's fine, but it was also making it a little bit underwhelming. But let's go to the women's Money in the Bank ladder match for topic three. It started the night off right. Naomi was, of course, a great choice. She's been great, and she certainly deserved this. This was the fifth time for her, so it was the fifth time being a charm. The only problem here is that she's doing a little bit too well here, and so she's going to be cheered too much too soon. So, what are you gonna say? However, she didn't actually do a whole lot before the ending. She did have a nice X Factor and her head scissor driver to Rhea on top of the ladder back to back, and that was pretty much all that she did until the end, but that was all we needed. And Roxanne's Rana onto Rhea into a springboard moonsault was awesome. And of course, we got a devil's kiss on top of the ladder. All pretty good. And lastly, that Roxanne and Alexa Pop Rocks Code Red on the ladders at the same time. Also pretty great. In the end, this match was simpler, but it was more effective of the two ladder matches. So I'll give this the match of the night. So that takes us to topic 4, which is the men's Intercontinental title match. Not much to say here. I guess this was a fine addition at the last moment. Octagon Junior's springboard tornillos were pretty cool. And I guess at the end of the day, a simple distraction by Liv was good enough and simple enough because we didn't need to pull out all the stops here to defeat a AAA opponent. And I guess we didn't even need the Judgment Day at all. It was simply nice of Dom to actually do something on the show instead of just hang out in the clubhouse. So we'll take it, we'll be happy, and we'll just simply move on. And we'll move on to topic 5 and the women's Intercontinental title match. It was not as good as the first one, but there were still plenty of good moments. We liked Lyra's leg drop with Becky over the barricade. That was pretty good, but I have to say I was a little disappointed with the end here with another roll-up because that second rope manhandle slam should have been the end here. That was a pretty great move, but instead Lyra just has to be superhuman here apparently, and instead only gets fooled by a roll-up. And I guess pulling the tights somehow always seems to be the way to go, but I guess it's okay. It gets us a trilogy here, and Lyra at least deserves that. And then at the end, Lyra finally being fed up, that was perfectly fine, though I thought that dragged on a little bit too long as well. And I do have to say, Bailey, we missed you here, but I hope your mom had a great B-Day and that you enjoyed spending that with her. So I guess we'll see where that goes, but hopefully Bailey comes back soon. And let's go to our final topics with the winner of the week. And would it be wrong to say it was R-Truth? No, it wouldn't, because the answer is R-Truth. I'm sorry, Naomi, you did well, it was great, but fixing this decision so quickly was simply the thing that we needed to see here. It never should have come to this, but at least WWE saved its bacon, and R-Truth, of course, as always, which is why you need him, pulled this off perfectly, so thank you, R-Truth, great to have you back. And lastly, loser of the week, LA Knight, third straight year, losing the ladder match. We really would have hoped that they'd pull the trigger on Knight for a change, but I guess WWE is never going to make it be the case. I know it's hard, you gotta find a way though. Even though we had a long Roman Reigns run, a long Cody Rhodes run, and now the Cena run, I know you're gonna say there's never a spot for this to happen, but this guy's been too good for too long. He's been on fire, the crowd loves him, he has the most matches of anyone, so get him on the show for the title. Well, I think the count was a little bit quicker here tonight, so maybe I didn't quite beat the 10 count. But nonetheless, Money in the Bank, we're gonna give this PLE a B-. That was saved by R-Truth at the end when the last two matches were otherwise a little bit of a letdown. But if you missed my predictions about Money in the Bank, which would be a shame for you, be sure to go right on over here and check that out to see just how well I did. And I probably did pretty well. And in the end, I am the SportsZu, and this has been the Money in the Bank edition of Stop the 10 Count.